Hey there, welcome to episode 134 of the FFS Talk audio program. I am your host, Dan Hugo, as usual. We're recording this at 9:50 a.m. in the morning here in Greater Vegas. It's Pacific Daylight Time, by the way. On this Thursday, June 18th, 2026, we normally record new episodes and publish them on Thursdays, quite often in the morning, if possible. Looks like that'll be true today, unless something happens. Well, we'll find out. Today's title and topic, AI means all in. It used to mean artificial intelligence, but now it means no matter what, everybody is all in on this thing, financially and otherwise. But we're not talking about finances today. We're talking about practicality. If you're not familiar with the FFS Talk audio program, the idea is to facilitate conversation, discussion, argument, debate, hopefully no fisticuffs, around topics covering what works, what does not, and what we might do about it. So that's sort of the framework. When I'm offering my opinion solo, as I have for 134 episodes, I do follow that format. If there were somebody here to take a counter position or conduct their side of an argument or discussion or debate or whatever it is, they may or may not have a similar set of what works and what does not options. So ultimately, those should be available. We should kind of start out knowing what we believe works and what doesn't around a particular topic, and then propose a solution based on those things if there is a need for one. Surely a position might be everything's fine, and that would be it. What works? Everything. What do we do about it? Just sit back and enjoy. We have yet to have had a guest on any episode, so one of these days, I believe this is what I'm doing basically is planting seeds of future conversations. So if someone were to come along and find that, pardon me, let me get some water here. Today's topic is interesting, or they have a differing opinion, this would be a good start. Give it a listen, concoct a counter argument, and then we'll move from there. In the morning, I have chia seeds that were in the refrigerator overnight in water. Does that sound weird? They're pretty good. It's kind of a strange thing. Anyway, 134 episodes later, here we are. If you're not familiar with what FFS stands for, you just need to hang out with more Irish people and you will figure it out post haste. On that note, hopefully wherever you found this audio program, you're able to locate the episode description, which contains the show notes, including, sorry, I thought I was going to sneeze. Had to pause. Including the summary, which I'll read to you. And then the two links, I was considering looking around for some relevant links. There are probably a few, but everything moves so fast in this modern AI era. So we'll let it settle out a little bit. I was thinking about, I haven't done the cover art for today's episode. I was thinking about seeing if, I've mentioned this before and I'm going to repeat this later because this is an actual relevant point. I do use AI to do my cover art because I am not a graphic artist or an illustrator or anything of the sort. It doesn't make me feel great, but that's the budget I have for artwork. I was thinking about having however I go about this, creating a Gartner hype curve for the perception of AI and the actual AI and see if they're actually like, what would the AI, what would it come up with if I just say that without giving it direction? So that's a possibility. Anyway, wait, hang on a second. One more. I feel like I'm going to sneeze, so maybe I will at some point. Okay, let's just get to the summary and we can move along here. AI is showing up in all sorts of places for a few different reasons. So the question is whether this is good or maybe not so much. I wrote not too much. Let me fix that right now. Maybe not so much. In other words, what works, what does not, and what are we going to do about it? Hey, well, that's strange. That matches the format of the show. So yeah, the point is AI is appearing everywhere. So you got to have AI or you're not cool. If you're going to pitch a startup idea to someone, you better have some AI in there. You better have a .ai domain where people are less interested because we must have AI everywhere. If you're an Ed Zitron fan, you might believe that, and I'm not a fan. I think he is making good points, but he's also making them over and over and over. So it'd be nice if he would bring his presentation up to date. His information's at least 2 weeks old, I think. but we gotta use the capacity. We gotta start making revenue. We gotta start turning this ginormous investment into some opportunity for ROI, or other, we'll just be spending all of the money and getting nothing back. Or maybe it's just that because of expectations and where they've been set, you just got to have AI to be as cool as everyone else. So if you don't have AI, you're clearly behind. So it's maybe a resource utilization or economic slash financial slash investor returns question, or maybe it's just perception and value of AI and perceived value, and got to have it or else you're not as cool as somebody else. So it could be anything. Who knows? Maybe it's all of those. The links for today's episode, as I mentioned, FFS Talk Home is the homepage, ffstalk.com. I've said this many times. I don't know if I will ever make it look nice, but I actually do. I need to move all of the episode data for all of my various audio programs to within that domain, so that if Spotify becomes an issue, or to be honest, if I want to link to episodes, I'm usually putting the Spotify for Creators link, which is annoying. So, because I have no control over that. So what I would like is to be able to link directly to my own shows. Like, I own the domain. I should be able to say, oh, if you want episode 134, here it is, ffstalk.com/episode/whatever. So so between that and making the site look nice and functionality, multiply by number of podcasts /website or audio programs and websites, plus everything, it's ridiculous. I don't want to complain to you, so I'll end it there. Profile page linking everything. buymeacoffee.com/Dan Hugo. That's me, DANHUGO. I've had this Buy Me a Coffee page, profile page, for 5 years and 2.5 months. True story. So I really don't push it that hard. I've been pushing it more lately just because I have it, so why not? It's nice because it works if my own websites don't, and that's not 100% true, but maybe 99% true. buymeacoffee.com/Dan Hugo, always there with links to everything I'm producing, everything I'm making. Affiliate links. You don't have to spend any money. If you want to use one of the affiliate links, these are products I actually use and endorse. I have to check the coffee beans to make sure that they're all still there. One of my favorite coffee beans became unavailable. It was the Black Diamond something that's on there. Luckily, I found a replacement. Shock coffee, I would say, is as good. Don't tell me it's some sort of alien coffee that I shouldn't be drinking or something, but it's a good dark bean, good dark roast, whole bean, good stuff. I enjoy it. So I think all the ones that I get from Amazon are on there, I think. So anyway, check it out if you want. There's links also to my various projects I'm working on, some biographical information. And don't forget the Buy Me an Update audio program comes out on Monday mornings. It's 5 minutes or less. It's a quick rundown on the previous week's audio program topics and news and announcements upcoming. Used to be published exclusively on buymeacoffee.com/danhugo/posts, but who goes to Buy Me a Coffee for podcasts? So it's published there first, and then 2 hours later, it's automatically distributed to the other places. Speaking of other places, the episodes get automatically pushed to, or no, they get pushed to, they don't get pushed anywhere. The RSS feeds are used to pull. So the RSS feed at Spotify is updated, then Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and YouTube see that there's an update. I think they check every 15 minutes or so. I can't remember. I could check, but so YouTube has been historically two things. One, it would reliably check and then download or acquire the episode and the cover art within about 15 to 30 minutes, depending on exactly when that polling time occurred, right? So sometimes it would miss or whatever. But under 30 minutes usually. 30-ish would be the kind of the long time. Now it's going 10 hours, 12 hours. So I don't know if YouTube is backed up or if it's having a problem in general. Like maybe it will get back to normal, quote unquote normal, for 30 minutes ish. So either way, the YouTube channel for FFS Talk and Quaggling Sand and Let's Innovate for Vegas and Cafe Genius Impresarios is there mostly for the transcript generation. So if you would like to read this podcast, the transcript is automatically generated. It's not 100% perfect, but it's pretty close. I mean, it's close enough so that you get the basic idea. I don't like the idea, and this is pervasive, I don't like the idea of leaving people out So if having a generated transcript helps, great. If there's ways that we can make that better, that would fit nicely into the Innovate for Vegas Foundation collection of goals around accessibility in general. So something to think about. The other thing about YouTube is that they still are marking episodes as private sometime after. So it'll just randomly not be available until I go and toggle it again. So I'm really sorry. That's awful. I should have paused. I had to get a drink. I'm really considering stopping the automated publishing or the pull-based, RSS pull-based publishing, and maybe automating like a script to just post on YouTube automatically. So we'll see. We shall see. That's the summary, and the links are a done deal. Let's get into the episode about AI, being all in on AI. AI means all in. Got AI, got milk. Remember that campaign? If you use any technology of any kind, and I'm going to guess that eventually you'll be not like, hey, here's a sheet of paper that is AI enabled. It'll happen. It'll be e-ink paper, but I mean, technically these are already around. The very what is it called? The tablet. It's something. I don't know. Reimagine, whatever it's called. It's an e-ink device that supposedly has a paper-like feel. I'm sure it has AI in it now. I can't remember the name of that tablet, but you probably know. AI is creeping into its feature set, whatever it is, into every feature set in one way or another, or it will be in the near term. So just give it a minute and you'll have AI in your toast in the morning. It is important to note that AI, as we are experiencing it in the headlines, is usually based on large language models. Now, I'll put a caveat here. The interface that you as a consumer, me, you, everybody, the one that you're experiencing through an app on your phone or the web-based interface, these are most likely, because you, like for Gemini, for example, if you Nano Banana is their image tool, right? Their image model that will generate. So if I just go to the Gemini page and I say, make me a picture of a banana, it will direct that to the Nano Banana model. So it won't be the large language model that actually creates the image. And if you want to see examples of where this happens and where it breaks down, if you have a weird image and you say, can you fix something? Can you take out that picture of the banana and replace it with an apple? It may do something weird. And if you ask for like, why did you do that? I've actually done this. And I'll say, oh, sorry. First it'll be groveling. Oh, sorry, the part where you gave instructions to make the edit didn't have the image content and the information that was in the image. So you have to do it. And this was like 6 months ago. More recently, this doesn't tend to be a problem. I think they automatically do the thing that it was, which is basically you have to reparse the image description and then figure out what the output was and then apply the edit. So it wasn't doing that automatically. So it would just basically create a new image, or alternatively, it would spit out exactly the same image. Anyway, these are the sorts of things that are being developed along with everything else. So when I say you're probably using a large language model, that's part of it, but there's a little bit more going on behind the scenes. And this is in order to provide a nice user experience, right? You don't have to worry about, am I using the correct model? Am I using the correct context for the Nano Banana versus the Flash? I think it is. So I'm simplifying here, but so yeah, it's probably based on a large language model. But AI is a fairly broad collection of technologies, right? So it could be a couple of other things. When it comes to all the behind-the-scenes operations of data inputs, the tuning of weights, and the outputs, the output is it, and the output it is supposed to enable. So you may want a picture, you may want an audio or video media file of some sort. You may want other text. So depending on all these things, these are all sort of wrapped under a big umbrella. But also AI is a machine learning, deep learning. There could be classification, which kind of goes in with the transformer to figure out which words are important, and so on. So there's a lot of moving parts that come under the AI umbrella. It's far too much to talk about in this episode in any great detail, and I'm not an AI researcher, just a mere software engineer. So we'll get nerdy, but not that nerdy. Parametric algorithms, fuzzy logic, and movements towards this modern AI world that we find ourselves in have been in use and in development for decades. When I was in college, it was a long time ago, one of my colleagues, one of my fellow students, was talking about neural nets and weights and all this way back then. That's the sort of the core behind, if you've ever heard of open weights models, those are the open source large language models. You're basically using a neural net with different nodes and hidden layers, and they're all multiplying and adding and so on. So that's been around forever. That's the multiply and add, the MAC, multiply and accumulate. That's been around for probably being done on paper with pencils and maybe slide rules. So a long time ago. So nothing super shiny and new in that regard, but we have the compute power and the model data to train with. Thank you, Internet. And don't you believe that you're going to be involved financially in any of that for contributing your life's work? So, despite ChatGPT launching its first product at the end of November in 2022, remember that? November 30th, ChatGPT goes live. There is a lot of history behind that date, leading up to it. There has been a bit of an explosion lately, though, due probably to that chat interface, and not to mention the trillions of dollars that are getting poured into all this stuff with dubious plans for return, which brings a complex AI model to the same types of interactions as people have had with their friends online. So now if you're chatting with your friend, your significant other, your parents, siblings, or an automation, an AI, it's getting more and more difficult to tell the difference, which has probably helped it along, but is also, do we have to go into detail on why that's going to be a problem eventually? It is important to understand the size of AI in that a large language model is good for some things. I mean the size, like the scope and grandeur of possibilities. So LLMs are good for some things, not for others, and that, hiding it behind the chat interface, and so it sort of marshals your prompt, or if you're using agents, or sort of it's becoming a little bit more interesting at every turn, I think. Machine learning can be used for classification and for identifying novelty. Maybe you're looking for proteins or vaccines or signal antenna. If you merely ask, signal antenna was one of the first things I saw where, AI was used to design an antenna for this particular application, and it came up with something that nobody would have thought of. And that's sort of like DeepSeek and the AlphaGo experience, where the algorithm did not go with what a typical Go grandmaster, or whatever they call the Go experts, the Go game. It made a move that everybody thought was a mistake, but it turned out to be brilliant, and it won the Go game, and it won the match, however, 3-2 or 4-5, 5-4 or something. So it beat someone handily. And so that's not specifically a large language model. It's learning the rules of the game, and then strategy and cost and value of moves and so on. So you can use AI for a lot of different things other than chat. And so it's curious to me. I mean, when you ask AI, your favorite chat client, hey, can you add this series of numbers together, or can you perform a mathematical operation, numerical mathematical operation? It's not necessarily, so it would have to figure out a way to do that is not. So if you say what's 1 + 1, it could find a string of text somewhere that, the answer is 2 because someone else wrote that at some point in the past. But if you said, can we sum up all of the reals from 0 to 1, it may interpret that as not feasible with its current compute resources because it read about that somewhere else. But to actually do the numerical operations, that's a different thing. So anyway, the size of AI, there's a lot of stuff going on. It's a big thing. The list goes on, though, of stuff. Protein folding and all that. What was the other one? There was distributed.net was finding RC5 value. What was it? Collisions of hashes, or I can't remember what it was doing. And then they turned it into protein folding. There was also the trying to find non-noise in the SETI data. So that's another application. So you can use it to looking at X-rays. So it can find, through classification and other discovery mechanisms, it can find values or next values and so on. It's actually really fascinating. Probably, I heard a physicist describing, sorry, that's all Amazon device notifications. A physicist was describing how some of the cool stuff that they do with AI has nothing to do with Chat GPT or Gemini or Claude or whatever. So they're doing it for the real science. Anyway, I've gone way off track here. The typical user experience with LLMs has been it's kind of set a bar of sorts with expectations of what AI is and what may not, this may not be entirely accurate, right? As I've sort of intimated here so far, or perhaps not complete is a less spicy take. So it's accurate, but there's just more to it. Something like that. It appears that LLMs are entering our daily lives, whether we like it or not, though, for now, for the moment. So we'll see. Now, finally, at long last, we're 22 minutes in, 23 minutes. What works? What works? And remember, this is the basis of argument. So these are my views. Everything I've said in this episode is my views on things. And so if someone else were to engage in conversation and or debate or argument or whatever, what have you, around this topic with me, this would be where I would begin. I have mentioned this across all of my audio productions. The cover art images are often made with the help of generative AI, often Gemini, sometimes the Canva AI tools, whatever they're based on. Although sometimes it's more take a background image, especially if I've taken the image myself. That's always nice. Some elements of clip art, which is one of the features of Canva that I actually like, is you have a starting point of a lot of tools and content, regardless of AI. Graphic elements, so there again, you can, arrows and whatever, right? Flourish. Text with a lot of font faces to go with and some effects and so on. And voila. As a tool in our personal toolboxes, AI in any form can be useful and very often is for a variety of tasks. So that's a nice thing. That's works to have AI handy, right? I don't have to, I need to do almost nothing to have these tools at my fingertips, at my disposal, ready to go. So that's convenient. Usually I initiate that engagement. The talk of the town lately is AI automation with agents and frameworks and harnesses and that chat interface that enables more detailed and perhaps more expansive work to be accomplished with help from AI. So there's even more going on now. If you can tell your tools to filter your emails, filter them for you, and then flag the messages that appear important and respond or delete the others, that might be a great time saver if it all works as you hope it might. And then the question is, would you know if it didn't work? Would it even, put this in quotes, tell you, hey, I deleted that mail from your mom, sorry. Who knows? Tools for research are popular and high utility. So you suggested that earlier with the physicist. It could be any number of fields. But don't always get the attention. Basically, automated tools can fill in some blanks for construction of reports, presentations, in pursuit of knowledge and understanding. It could be for any topic, essentially. And then, like I said, you can do numerical analysis, you can do pattern classification, all this other fun stuff. You may have heard of something called RAG, R-A-G, which is retrieval augmented generation. That's where your tools could go and search for more information if they don't have it in their training data, right? Which might be more current. You could get today's news. If your model was trained a week ago, then it's not current today. So if it can retrieve current information and merge that into its analysis and response of your input prompt, yay, technology. It could be more relevant, of course, more specific. The notion of mainstream at this point and how very useful in general all this stuff is kind of amazing. If you don't treat AI as magic, and Arthur C. Clarke has a quote about that if you search around a little bit. But if you don't regard it as magic, but as simply, ongoing development and evolution of development efforts that have been, based on research over decades and decades, 50s, possibly the 40s, from a computing standpoint, and probably before that, from the perspective of, thought experiments and paper and pencil algorithms and so on. So yeah, as long as you treat it as magic, there's a lot of stuff that works in this modern era. We're getting a lot of, gee whiz, that's neat, shiny objects, bright lights. And it's becoming more and more present in everything we do. Do you have, wherever you found this audio program, is there a Ask AI button, which is showing up in more and more places? If you're using Google products, you get that weird curvy, I don't know what that shape is called. It's like a diamond, but with concave vertices. I don't know what that shape is called. The Gemini logo. So what may not work? Google is leading the way, arguably perhaps, integrating their Gemini platform into just about everything they offer, from developer tools to cloud services to their workspace platform, so Google Workspace, to Android, to everything else. I'm sure it's in their Google Home products, if that's still what that's called. There are, what am I thinking? There are, they've already started canceling products and making people upset that some of their developer tools, the Google I think, was it the Gemini CLI, command line interface, is being replaced by the anti-gravity CLI, which is not as open. It's not an open source project. So it makes extension, plugin development, and so on. So, and that's a Google thing. They like to cancel stuff when they become really useful. Google Reader. So Microsoft has been in there with Copilot integrations that most people don't want. For better or worse, they're doing their Copilot stuff, and they're still trying, I guess, a little bit. Apple is in there. It's the new Siri, I think, is coming out. I don't have any Apple products to try, but Apple. And then everybody else is adding some sort of AI chat at the very least to everything. Forget the metaverse. Here is an entirely new thing that may or may not offer you as the customer anything but confusion and maybe data loss or security concerns if we aren't careful. But you have to have it because your competitors do. So yeah, we're seeing all this stuff get kind of foisted upon us as end users, and that may or may not be good. It may take up a lot of memory on your whatever devices. It may become unstable. It may have unexpected behaviors, hallucinations, and whatnot. It could be stealing your passwords, literally. So there could be credential issues, security breaches in general. It could delete stuff. I thought you wanted me to delete everything. So who knows? Be careful, please. But yeah, that's one of the things that I didn't want Gemini. I don't want Gemini on my phone, but I think it's there. We are now seeing the second phase of a potential impoopification in the AI space. And I should add into that first section, Google, Microsoft, Amazon to some extent, they had existing products. They had Amazon and Google had their smart speaker products. Anybody who's got developer tools, anybody who does any sort of document, what do you call it? Productivity tools. So Microsoft 360, Office 360, Google Workspace, etc. So everybody is able to sort of integrate AI. Google and Microsoft can therefore productize their AI tools. Claude and OpenAI are basically just selling their tools, their AI models and interfaces to them. So you don't have the OpenAI workspace. Wasn't OpenAI going to make a browser or something? But anyway, so you're seeing Google and Microsoft take advantage of this. Amazon to some extent. I mean, to a lot of extent. You got your, what is it called? I can't remember their chat bot on the Amazon storefront site. You can now ask, tell me the latest price of whatever, price history. So everybody's getting into it. You got to have AI. You got to, hey, Mom, how you doing? Do you have AI yet? No? Okay, I'll call you back another time. So we're seeing the second phase of potential impoopification in the AI space, where all you can eat flat monthly subscriptions, most of the people using these had come to rely on and enjoy, $20 a month, and some were, $100 a month or whatever, but all you can eat, I can use millions of dollars worth of tokens for $100. I'm in. So that, early loss leaders justifying, for investment, we have all these people using it every day. We're getting all this training data. They're giving what these pricing models are giving way to more granular billing, token-based billing. You'll probably hear with higher price tags. So it's metered usage. So now it's not all you can eat. You have to actually pay for what you take. This may not trickle down to the casual individual user for some time. So your $20 subscription may remain $20. Your free tier may remain free. Maybe you'll get a little bit less or maybe a little bit more in the free tier. It's hard to say. But if you're a commercial user, if you had your 30 employees, use AI as much as you possibly can. Now they're like, okay, wait a minute, don't use it. Now we're actually paying for what you're doing. We got to pull this back. So it may not trickle down to us, but beware that this price structure can change. You never know what's going to happen. Companies might go away. They might have to shut down because they're out of money. And this is often after an addiction has been established. And we've literally already seen this where a model, not even a model going away or a pricing change, but if something about a particular model version changes, you might lose your AI chat buddy, that this ongoing conversations where people are maybe getting emotionally attached to their chat, and it's the whole history of it. But so it could go away, like the chat data itself might be reset if you're not, it might happen. But the nature of the chat might change, so the personality might change. There's all sorts of things that once you have integrated these features of this modern technology into your daily well-being, you have to be a little bit careful. And so if the price, if it was $20 all you can eat, I don't want to make that connection to, you know what I mean? You're having this conversation with something that you would eventually regard as a friend perhaps, or more, or whatever. If suddenly it's, we're going to charge you based on the amount of conversation you're having, that changes everything. But if you must have it, then okay, well, I'll pay $1,000 a month, whatever it is. So it's that doesn't really work, not well. So hence it's in the what may not work section. If we can eat food prepared in a restaurant, and if we can only eat food prepared in a restaurant and coffees prepared at coffee shop chains, we may lose not only our appreciation for a broader selection of possibilities, like home cooked meals and so on, but even our ability to make those selections thanks to habit. Like, I don't know what to have. I just always go with, this menu and this other menu. And forget about the fact that you forget how to cook for yourself and make your own coffee at home. So we may just give in to this habit, diminished skill. I don't know how to do it anymore. Committed decisions. I've already decided I'm going to go to, this place and that place. I don't really need to go anywhere else. I don't want to. Or maybe other reasons. Similarly, as AI becomes more and more simple an option to accept in our daily pursuits, that the button's right there. I pressed the AI button by mistake because it's so close to the save or send or whatever. We may literally forget the manual methods, like, I don't even know how to edit this file anymore. I just tell AI what I want. Change all the capital A's to small case, lowercase a's. We might make product and service selections that make a return to AI free more difficult or impossible. And we may find some of the no AI options fade away from the lack of use at scale. They just can't compete. Consumer AI in its current form is going to be 5 years old in November, and yet many are willing to hand over their personal autonomy now. What happens next year? By the way, all this goes for AI search, replacing web search as another example. So all of the traffic that would have gone to websites, it no longer reaches human content online. You're just getting a summary that's generated by Google, for example. And so they've taken your content and they've summarized it, and they've taken your traffic. So they don't even send people who would have wanted to go to your website or observe your content, or they're taking those people literally. A court case in Germany has made them liable for a summary that goes wrong, but we'll see how that goes. These decisions can lead to loss. So as more people are using AI, fewer people are getting or are able to sustain the businesses they had that were based on human visitors to their website, or humans purchasing things or clicking on ads or whatever it is. So that whole entire dynamic is changing. Job losses due to AI layoffs. Okay, but this other stuff is really happening. So what can we do about this? What might we do about this? It's hard to say. The first step in addressing a problem is admitting there is one. Of course, we've all heard that. If you are not seeing any of what we have described as a problem in this episode today, there isn't much to say. unless you are re-listening to this episode in the, maybe a year from now. And maybe you'll say, oh, you know what? It actually kind of is a problem now. Like any addiction or bad habit in general. Did I write addition? Addiction. And addition. Simple math. It's dangerous. Like any addiction or bad habit in general, sometimes we embrace whatever it is so slowly and comfortably that we barely recognize our dependence upon it, really. Self-monitoring and self-control are a start, so that's an essential one. Now, why did I not make the boiling frog analogy? I'll tell you why. If you search on the internet and if you actually click through to the research, not the summary, support somebody, not me, it's not me. Actual research was done on this. If a frog is left in water and the temperature of the water begins to increase over time, there is a point where the frog will just jump out of the water. So the frog doesn't wait there to get boiled and die. So it's a good meme, but it is a myth and it has been disproven. Busted, myth busted, if you like. I don't know if Mythbusters actually did that one, but it's an actual research paper that you can read about it. They tried frogs as is, and then they removed the brains of frogs. So there was a I can't remember if there was the similar reflexive action. So they wanted to know if the frog's body would automatically try to escape the warming water, and I don't remember what the outcome of that was. But I do know that the meme is not completely scientifically accurate. So, point number 2. By the way, we only have this one and one more, and we're done. Decide whether the universal solution hype is what you are really looking for. Like, do I need AI to take over every aspect of my life? And if you ever read like blog posts or that style of article writing, I was writing letters home manually, but now I added Claude code and it changed my life. And you're like, oh my God, I feel like I'm missing out. Daily articles and videos, perhaps created by humans sometimes, but probably not, extol the virtues of using this model to change everything, or to use this other model to make your life easier, and so on and so on. I compared these 5 models and only one was worth my time. Like, ooh, I better stop wasting mine. Tell me more. Is AI a tool along with a pencil, an eraser, notepaper, a calculator? Is it just something that you use through the day, the stuff that works when you need it and stays out of the way when you do not? That would be nice. If you go all in on AI, as many want you to do, the path may have more bumps in it than you can see today, and all these pro AI articles that make you think you're missing out on something. They're glossing over some of the finer points that may be quite sharp. And we hope all this is not true, but proceed with utmost caution. You don't want to get caught in what is essentially marketing slop. What are you doing not using Copilot? You are worthy. Use Copilot. Whatever it is. That's not an ad. That's merely just I'm trying to mock the nature of the world at this point. I used coffee beans, a grinder, and an AeroPress, and it was way better than Claude Code to make coffee. Finally, truly finally, the last point. Reach out to creators and publishers whom you may know. And I'm going to guarantee you know someone who's out there making money from YouTube or TikTok or whatever, blogs, advertising revenue, whatever it is. Find someone whom you may know to find out how AI is changing their outlook in business. And this is already happening, right? If it hasn't already happened. If you're a content creator along the media axis, you may be a photographer or something. Oh, people downloaded my photos into their models and now they don't even need me anymore. They just generate photos based on my work and I get nothing. I'm sure that's a story that you would hear if you ask a photographer, for example. AI was built on the work of people like this. Maybe you, maybe me, I don't know. Famously, if you read Karen Howe's book on the Empire of AI, I believe it's called. It's a good book. It's sort of depressing, but it's sort of the making of OpenAI. With their arrangements with Microsoft just handed over GitHub content for their training. So anybody that was using GitHub, maybe if you had your repositories open to the public for read access at least, but essentially all of GitHub was available for training. So all that code that OpenAI is able to write is probably a mixture of good and bad. So AI is built on the work of all these people, and now it is taking their traffic and their consumers away from them. It's one of the things we give up for this new convenience, whether we grasp it or not. So that's something to be aware of. It's like this is horrible. If you ever see it, you're like, "Oy." If you've ever seen, I think it's a blood anticoagulant, or is it a coagulant? Some sort of medical treatment substance is derived from the blood of horseshoe crabs. So they just have horseshoe crabs in racks, and they're just bleeding them out. They're just capturing all their blood as I guess they die there. Thanks, humanity. The law of unintended consequences may become more apparent if the dead internet theory proves true, and every notion we encounter forevermore is generative AI trained on the history of human communications to a point, a recent point, and then other generative AI slop forever after. And that'll be fun. So luckily that use AI button will end up being one of the worst possibilities. Like just put me in manual mode. I don't want AI. Can I drive a standard transmission, please? I don't need the automatic anymore. So interesting times ahead, I think. I'm not a huge fan of AI doing work for me. You know, I'm not an artistic person, like I said, so it does do some of that work for me, but it's a tool that does some work. I don't say, hey, make a podcast for me and do all of the work, and then I don't have to do anything. So I think that's where we start running into trouble, is when people become disconnected from what they're working on. You're starting to see more open source projects rejecting generative AI, writing code and submitting bug fixes and so on, because first of all, they come in too fast. There's not a human involved, so it's just AI spitting out whatever it wants for as fast as it can. And then people who don't know what they're talking about will oh, look, it wrote 10 million lines of code. And you're like, yeah, it could have been done in 5, not 5 million, 5. So it rewrote everything because it just felt like it. So there's this deluge of incoming open source contribution, and then somebody has to maintain that or go through it or approve it and merge it. There's all sorts of things where you're like, it's a lot better when there's humans involved. Also, you give up the learning process, the development of the next generation of people who are going to support these things, the next generation of people who know how to write, how to string. I'll tell you this. We started the newsletters for Innovate for Vegas, Smart City Vegas, and Cafe Genius Impresarios. They're LinkedIn newsletters for now. That will migrate to email newsletters because I don't want to be stuck in the LinkedIn silo, nor do I want to restrict the people I can engage and reach in that silo. But I have found that because when I write, and you've heard me, if you've heard more than this episode, but even in this episode, you've heard me correct typos. I'll say, oh, that's misspelled, and I fix it. I don't catch them all, and I don't note them all. When I write my, what we'll call a script, it's really like an outline. Sometimes I'm reading verbatim. Sometimes I'm starting with that and going off onto some other tangents and whatnot, which is good because I don't have to write every single word and make sure it's spelled correctly to actually produce this audio program. When you write newsletter or email or written word in general, and I'm not saying I don't do that, but I'm starting to ramp up the amount of writing that I do for actual direct consumption, like reading the actual words, not listening to my interpretation of them. I'm finding I've become a little bit sloppy in making sure that I do, because a homonym, so that word, oh, I meant the alternate spelling of that word, or there have been a few little like, ooh, what was I thinking there? They're not spelled incorrectly, so spell checking doesn't work. So it's in context, grammatical, typographical swaps, but they're still words. So when you hand over, which I haven't handed over writing to AI, but I've been writing for speaking rather than writing for reading, and even that makes a difference in just your habits. Now that I've realized this, I'm making more of a concerted effort to slow down the writing as if I'm going to read it, or as if somebody else is going to read it. But I cannot imagine if I just stop writing altogether and I have artificial intelligence doing the writing and the reading and the summarizing and the, I don't have to do anything anymore. I just hand it over. Well, then what do we need you for? You're fired. So I think it's going to be an interesting time. The next, I think, a year or two is going to be eye-opening. If the bubble bursts, it will definitely be eye-opening. And then we'll see what happens. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say on that. Don't forget, this is an audio program about discussion, conversation, debate, argument. Who knows what other, hopefully a good faith and friendly, cordial at least. But anyway, maybe there's a topic that you find interesting, and we'll see what happens. Thank you for listening. As always, don't forget to check out buymeacoffee.com/DanHugo for links to all of my other audio programs. You don't need to spend any money. But if you do care to, all proceeds from buymeacoffee.com and Ko-fi.com, don't forget that one. That one's linked from there as well. Ko-fi.com, ko-fi.com/DanHugo. Coffee Solo is a program that was similarly published exclusively from that platform, which I've also had for 5 years. But as both cases, nobody goes to those websites to listen to podcasts. They don't have RSS feeds, etc. So I continue to publish them there first, respectively. Buy Me an Update, Buy Me a Coffee, Coffee Solo, Ko-fi.com. But then I publish them in the usual places 2 hours later. So check them out if you like. And if not, we'll see you right here 1 week from now for the next topic. Take care now. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.